This is Boston Lanka's special series on presidential elections in Sri Lanka. I am Chitral Dimel. For this program, we join with Chaminda Hettiarachchi, an international consultant, lecturer, analyst, and a researcher on strategic studies and management sciences based in Colombo, Sri Lanka. He currently serves in the visiting faculty at University of Moratuwa, University of Colombo and Kotalawala Defence University in Sri Lanka. He teaches project management, strategic management and e-business of MBA programs. Chaminda has been studying online political campaigning in Sri Lanka from 2009 and presented his findings in several national and international forums. His research on Web 2.0 technologies for election campaigning in Sri Lanka focused on presidential elections in 2010, presented at Oxford Internet Institute in Oxford University in UK in September 2010, is the first international research work on use of social media for political campaigning in Sri Lankan context. So Chaminda, how is the current political climate in Colombo in Sri Lanka?
We have a very dynamic and very vibrant political situation because of the presidential election. Now there are both positive and negative sides. Now what I see as positive is it's really people are very active. They are engaged in day to day. They are watching the news as well as engaged in political activities. Mainly the opposition supporters and the politicians. We didn't see that during last few months, so this is a very new development. Now in terms of negative side, you see there are a lot of political bargaining is going on. A lot of politicians are defecting mainly to the opposition but also to the other side. So people complain that this is kind of buying out their representatives. And also you see there's a surge of violence during recent weeks. We expect that to also, which is very normal to Sri Lankan political culture. So the violence will also increase during time to come. But for me personally, I think this is an inspirational situation. Now, thing come to my mind is 1994 presidential election where Chandrika Bandaranaike came with the theme of end of suffering and dawn of peace. So that campaign, when I was a young political activist, I saw that inspiration and the same kind of emotions and mentality is now also happening. So it's a very dynamic and vibrant timing.
What are your opinions about opposition presenting Maithripala Sirisena as the common candidate?
Yeah, I think now as a research and strategic studies and strategic management, this is really like a textbook example of we call guerrilla attack. Now, why I say that? Now there was this idea about common candidate for several months. But they didn't have any idea who was the real common candidate. So the government, the media, and even the public all were kept on speculations, and eventually we got an unexpected candidate. Now there are very interesting things, which in terms of strategic point of view. Now, because of this unexpected internal candidate came in to become a opposition common candidate, now what happened was government has been planning and investing a lot of resources and planning different programs to kind of attack or even campaign against popular potential common candidates as Ranil Wickremesinghe or Chandrika Bandaranaike, and also they based their campaign on anti-international conspiracy theory arguments, LTT diaspora, supported campaigner, as well as they confronted with all these possible negatives of the opposition candidate, but eventually they came, all these programs were wasted and they were not really effective. So I think this is a really good move by the opposition parties, particularly UNP and other parties. So they had a real good strategy of employing one of most loyal UNFA senior leader and its own general secretary. Now I actually, a few years ago when there's another media channel asked me about the kind of non-defeatability of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. I was explaining about possible internal cracks. So I think it is happened really this time. So I think it's a really good strategy. In addition to that, I also want to explain about different new development based on Maithripala Sirisena as a common candidate. Now, what we have seen in the political history in Sri Lanka is normally president candidate is like a strong personality or a strong individual leader. We saw this in the case of J.R. Jayawardena, President Premadasa, Chandrika Bandaranaike, all were individual leaders and powerful personalities. Now, Mahinda Rajapaksa to some extent didn't have that kind of political leadership when he campaigned in 2005, but after the war, when he was campaigning in 2010, he also built this image as a real leader, savior, this person who saved the nation, and also the concept of great king. But now, on the other hand, Maithripala Sirisena still is more like a regional leader, not a national leader. He has no real national achievements or personal accomplishment as a political leader, and also it's not really, in traditional sense, it's not a powerful personality. Now, I just actually watched an interview by Minister S.P. Dissanayake was saying all our former presidential candidates campaign on individual accomplishment, where Maithripala Sirisena is talking about things he couldn't do as a minister. But for me, actually, it's a strength because now, from one side, he has been able to ask people to focus on not on his personality, but also the program and his political manifesto. And the second plus point is now he has been able to gather strong individual political leaders like Ranil Wickremesinghe, Chandrika Bandaranaike, Anurag Kumara, and Champakaranaga. So from both sides, he has been able to ask people to focus on policies, and also he has been able to build a broad alliance with strong leaders. So I think it's a really good positive side. The final positive side of Maithripala Sirisena as a common candidate, now his background, he's a Sinhala Buddhist rural person, not coming from an elite background. He's a son of farmers. So now this is really a strength for his candidacy, because now this is where Mahinda Rajapaksa also gets his main, this is where his main voter base. So it's a threat to Mahinda Rajapaksa in terms of breaking his core voter base. Now this background of Maithripala Sirisena is also positive because from one hand he can get minority votes because he is surrounded by minority friendly politicians, and at the same time he can also get Sinhala Buddhist rural voters because that is his background. So I think overall this is a very good strategy by the opposition to have senior Sri Lanka Freedom Party leader defected and become the common candidate.
In case of victory by Maithripala Sirisena, what are the political challenges and opportunities Sri Lanka will have in your view?
Yes, I'll talk about a few opportunities. Now, for me, I personally think now winning by Maithripala Sirisena is actually a victory for, broadly it's a victory for democracy as well as people who believe in democratic institutions and procedures of democracy, because this is about people being able to say no to an existing ruler and get the chance to vote and express their opinion regardless of the outcome. Now people can argue having Mahinda Rajapaksa continuing for third term and so will be useful in democratic outcomes, but now if you are more focused on, now democracy may have a procedure, so if you are a believer in democratic institutions and your voting rights, I think Maithripala Sirisena's win is a positive side. Now, and also, now I consider this common platform of Maithripala Sirisena is one of broadest political alliance and post independent Sri Lanka. So we see we have traditionally seen confrontational politics in Sri Lankan political history. Now this is an opportunity for us to learn and practice politics of coexistence or cooperation. Therefore, this is a kind of new political landscape. Now, one example for a possible opportunity what we missed was 2002-2004 government where President was Chandrika and Ranil Wickremesinghe had the power as the Prime Minister. Now, so of course we know what happened and how we missed that opportunity. I remember Madam Chandrika was talking about in a BBC interview that this one of her biggest political mistake was dissolving that government. Maybe she also has a personal target to, revise back that mistake by facilitating this kind of political alliance. And another positive point of opportunity will be now this Maithripala Sirisena manifesto, political manifesto is really a people-friendly program and expanded over 100 years. So we as people of the country will have real tangible results every day during coming 100 years. So we will be able to monitor and track them in terms of implementation. So I would say this is like a power going back to people by having that kind of manifesto. So overall it is Maithripala Sirisena's winning will be an opportunity for Sri Lankans to practice and develop a new people-friendly political culture beyond individual leader-based political culture. I like to also talk about a few challenges. Now a lot of analysts and also some foreign media is talking about challenge of transition of power in case of opposition victory. I also pursue in case of actually it's not only me but there is a common kind of idea that feeling that now transition of power to the opposition can be very violent and will be not very volunteer. However, I recently read in Financial Times President has agreed in case of a loss to transfer power smoothly. Second main challenge will be holding this alliance by the opposition after the winning the elections. Now, in international relations and political science, we talk about unifying against a common enemy or bigger enemy. But when the enemy is gone, it will be difficult, or there will be no forces to keep these separate or individualistic players together. So that can also be a challenge. Now, winning will be possible, but holding together the common opposition after winning the election will be a challenge, at least in the short run. Now, third point I want to mention is now Sri Lankan political culture is so dominant by having an executive presidency. So not only political parties and leaders, but also people, common people expect a strong individual executive president or leader take quick decisions on behalf of them. So in Maithripala Sirisena's kind of presidency, you won't see that. You will be seeing more concession-based decision making by group than individual leader. So changing people mentally to that kind of broad-based, concession-based political culture will be difficult, even at least in the short run. Now we see this kind of political culture in advanced democracies, European democracies like Switzerland, but it will take some time for people to adjust to that. But this will remain as a challenge. But overall, I think it will give more opportunities for people to practice their democratic rights than challenges it will create by having Maithripala Sirisena as the president.
Chaminda, could you share about your findings about online campaigning by Sri Lankan politicians from 2009?
I started doing this from 2009. I was one of first researchers to focus on online campaign by political campaigning. Now it was comparatively new that time. Now I think now as you can well remember, Obama's campaign in 2009 was like the inspirational example for a lot of leaders all over the world. Now, first election we followed was Western provincial election in April 2009. We saw some activities online and use of social media, but presidential election of Sri Lanka in April 2010 was the main campaign which was fought on mainly on social media, both by Mahinda Rajapaksa and Sarath Fonseca then. The use of mainly social media like Facebook and Twitter was very apparent. Now, now compared to now, actually the number of fans were small. Both of them had less than 60,000 social Facebook users, fans, and about less than 100 for both cases Twitter followers. Now, Sarath Fonseca actually had more fans on both on Facebook, mainly Facebook pages. But he, of course, as we know, he lost. Now, why? Now, actually, I thought based on that time the analysis, Sarath Fonseca will win, but eventually Mahinda Rajapaksa won with bigger margin. Now, when we analyze why was that? Now, that time, at least in 2010, social media was not representative enough of Sri Lankan voters. Either those people who were active online, they were not voting, or they were not out of country, or they are not even eligible to vote. Maybe they were teenagers. But after that, there were other election campaign, particularly these provincial and national elections. But we didn't see real momentum like what we saw in 2010 campaign, except few people like Champik Ranawaka, Uday Gammampila, Harin, and Dayasri Jayasri. They did a real online social media, real good campaigns online. So that was the kind of a history of online campaigning on Sri Lankan politics.
Now, how do you analyze the current presidential campaign, online and offline?
Yeah. Now in 2000, now it's 2015, end of 2015. Now it's actually now Sri Lanka is very in terms of this web technology. It's a well connected society. Now we have more than 100% mobile penetration, 40% of IT literacy, maybe 20 to 30% of internet connections, and the people are connected. 40% people are, 30% people are connected online. There are around 1 million Facebook users, more than 700, around 750 viewers of YouTube daily. So it's really a country with a lot of political activism online. Now to answer your question, first we look at what are the tools they use. Now in terms of social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter are very powerful and very widely spread. Mainly Facebook is the main tool. Now there are a lot of discussions on social media about what's happening in daily in political domain in Sri Lanka. Now, one reason for this is actually Sri Lankan main mass media or traditional media is not free as online space. So people tend to talk about political situations, mistakes, corruptions, all negatives about the government online. So social media mainly, but also in general, web space is a space where people express their opinions freely. They consider that as a way of communicating about malpractices and different corruption, all these stories. And also it's also opportunity for creative political expression. You see very interesting jokes, cartoons and stories, videos. So the web space act as a imaginary space for making or expressing opinions. It is also opportunity for people to organize themselves and talk about different issues, and also partly as also monitoring space where they talk about politicians and their activities. And if you look at particularly the current campaign we have been analyzing now. Mahinda Rajapaksa is still leading in Facebook. He has more than official page. He has more 470,000 followers, and 88,000 Twitter followers, whereas Maithripala Sirisena has only 207,000 Facebook fans and only 4,000 Twitters. But you should not forget that when he started 40 days ago, at the end of November, he had only 15,000 Facebook fans and 13 Twitter followers only. So he has been able to gain very high number of followers and fans. Now this is compared to Sri Lanka's largest celebrity online is Kumar Sangakkara. So he has 2.9 million Facebook fans and 208,000 Twitters. So now politicians are also very dominant and they have very big followership or following on social media. But if you look at Mahinda Rajapaksa's campaign, it is really systematic, organized, and run by investing a lot of resources and skillful people. We heard that he has hired an Indian expert to run his social media campaign. So it is, and also they are using new technology, not only social media but also web streaming of live streaming of political rallies and other techniques. Now, but on the other hand, Maithripala Sirisena's campaign is mainly run by normal people or fans. So they have their own fan groups. They organize as Maithripala Sirisena followers and supporters. And it's interesting to see they have very creative ideas and funny attacks on government, politicians, and their track record. So I would say, based on the observations we have gathered, Maithripala Sirisena has kind of won on social media in terms of creating political dialogue and creating fan groups.
Your predictions on election results based on your research?
Yeah, it's difficult to say, but I can give some guidelines and the hints. Now, as I told you, Maithripala Sirisena is the leading candidate on social media and on web space. And also, he's now, based on my discussions and other experience with people around me, he's also favored highly by urban, middle class, intellectual, and professionals. And I also have a kind of idea that minority votes are favoring towards Maithripala Sirisena, particularly because of this recent attacks on Muslims as well as ethnic conflict in on north and east. Now, but then the crucial and quantifiably larger factor is the rural and Buddhist single Buddhist voters. Now, of course, as I mentioned before, Maithripala Sirisena has opportunity to get those votes to a sufficient number, but you should not forget that still Mahinda Rajapaksa is very popular in those areas, and his campaign machinery is very powerful in terms of his access to media, government media, staff or human resources as well as government machinery. Now, as you said, now next 2 weeks will be very crucial. Now, I see at the moment Maithripala Sirisena is running a very disciplined and focused campaign, but now the challenges are actually government is trying to distract his campaign by making various allegations, sometimes even unethical allegations, and also trying to distract him based on his previous talks and things he has done during when he was in the government. So I would say unless if there's unexpected event like what we saw in Chandrika's second term, because of the bomb blast, he was able to get sympathetic votes. So you have to also account for some kind of there can be unexpected event. So Sri Lankan voters are very sensitive also. If Maithripala Sirisena has if he is able to continue with focus, discipline, and non-confrontational so-called Maitri style campaign, I think he has an advantage. But we should not dilute the power and the maturity of President Rajapaksa's campaign also.